So I think I was going around the table, would you want your son to see prostitutes? And you said yes.
He did see one, yeah.
He did see one.
Responsibly.
I would
Once.
say this is when, okay, let's say I had a kid, theoretically, and he was being bullied, and he, in school, and he had kind of like a chip on his shoulder or something, and he's 18, and he's like, you know what? No woman ever loved me. Ever loved me. I said, you know what? Let's just get this out of your way. You go down to the brothel. If he's like, I don't have any money, and that's not. I'm like,
wait, can you scoot your mic to the edge of the table?
Oh, the edge. Okay.
All the way to the edge.
Like right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd be like, you know what? Birthday, I'll do it. Let's get this out of your way here, and let's get you some new energy in you. You pick one. You have a good time. You be respectful, and we're gonna move on from that. And we're gonna get you, as long as you're comfortable with it. But let's move past this, and let's focus on other things that you could be focused on. And then, what if he's a completely different person after that? He's like, oh, thank God that's over. I remember when I was younger, I was a virgin. I was very ashamed of it, and so I begged someone to take my virginity.
You had to beg?
I did.
You had to beg?
Yes, because I was bullied a lot, so I had to beg someone to take my virginity. And when it was gone, I felt so good about myself, because it was better to be looked at as a whore than to be looked at as a loser in my book. I felt invisible. I all of a sudden, after I had had sex with this person, I was visible. People knew who I was, and I felt so much power, and I was bragging about it. Yeah, I was bragging about it because I was treated terribly before I was. When I was a virgin, I was treated really bad.
Because you were a virgin?
I just, the loser, nobody will ever touch you or be with you and this and that. So
that's fucked up.
Yeah.
There's a ton of stigma.
Yeah. I always said, oh my gosh, no guy will ever be with me. So then I had a friend, I begged him to take my virginity, and he did. And this weight was lifted off my shoulders, and I could move on. And all of a sudden, next couple of years, I was real popular.
So wait, just to be clear. Yeah. So you said if your son was being bullied.
If he was 18, I would take him to the brothel. I wouldn't be like.
If he was getting bullied in general, or being bullied
if he had a chip on his shoulder about women, and he said if only a woman would touch me and love me, and he was 18, I'd be like, well, it's legal. You're 18. Birthday present.
All right, sure.
Mothers are bringing virgins.
I've had that too.
All the time.
All the time. I've had mothers.
But would you want your son?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, what about you? Would you want your son to see prostitutes?
This is really, really a hard question to be answered, because my first experience, I waited for my boyfriend to take my virginity, but prior to him was another man, and he was 23, I was 14. It wasn't a good situation. You can figure out what that is without saying the word. But personally, I believe a woman, and yes, I used to be in the sex industry, but because of my perspective on all the women that I serve at Destiny House and Dream House and all the safe houses across the country, working with people that have exited the sex industry, I would not prefer this for my son, because I would want him to honor a woman in a way he wouldn't have to pay for her. And he would love her enough to marry her first and give him everything he has, because he really does love her 100%. That's my take.
I think it's a hard question.
You have a son?
I have a daughter.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you had a son, would you want him to see a prostitute?
I don't think I would want him to communicate about it with me and understand his deeper intention and his deeper desire there.
Okay.
So for me, it's yes and no.
Do you have a son?
I have goat kids.
Oh, so sorry. That's right. That's right.
Goat kids.
They have lots of sex.
Sure. Would you want your son? Yeah.
Absolutely, yes. Seeing a sex worker isn't dishonoring a woman. It's not dishonorable in any way, shape, or form. If anything, paying a woman and recognizing the value that she is bringing to the table with her experience, with her knowledge, what she is providing in that exchange has value, and then honoring that with what is regarded as being valuable within our society, which is money. That's a beautiful thing to do. He respects women enough to pay them for their labor, rather than going to a bar, getting a woman drunk, trying to take her home and trick her into having sex when she's only half sober. I would never want any child of mine taking advantage of somebody else's child that wasn't sober. I would never want somebody
Hold
to
on,
go
that's
and
a
try
bit
to
of a
get...
leap, though, because the question
No,
is...
that's how most people end up, like, oh, I'm a virgin. I guess I'm
No.
going to just go to a bar and have a one-night stand and
No,
lose
but
it.
that's a bit of a...
So
that's a bit,
many people
I'm
make
just trying to
that
understand. I'm
choice.
just trying to follow the logic here. So you're saying that if your son didn't go to see a prostitute, that he would take advantage of a drunk
No,
one? Like, what-
I am saying I would much rather a child of mine
Nah.
see a sex worker than choose to lose their virginity by going to a bar and getting somebody drunk and making that choice, which when most men go, oh, I want to lose it, I don't know what to do. What do men say to other men? Oftentimes the advice is, why don't you go to a bar and buy a girl a couple of drinks? Like, have you not heard that dating advice from someone? Oh, just go to a bar and go lose it. Like...
Yeah, I mean,
What
Yeah.
about chivalry?
yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard like guys, that's how they talk. But
Yeah, I'd rather
Where's
see
the
a
real
man
man?
pay for a
yeah,
woman
and
and honor her in that way by acknowledging the value of her work and compensating her fairly for it.
Also, too, if he's
So-
not planning to be with her, then it's
I
best
don't
to go
like
with the
that.
sex worker.
No, so
don't
I think like so as a man, like there have been integral things that have happened in my life because I have held myself to this standard. So I'm not going to have sex till marriage. So it automatically weeds out a lot of women because that's what a lot of women want. I mean, like most, you could probably agree with me. Most women want to have sex before marriage.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it weeds a lot of those people out. I would say there are some key character development things going on in my life that is directly impacted from me not wanting to have sex before marriage. So, so
And
let's
that's-
just take it
that's
to.
great.
Also-
No,
let's
there's
just
nothing
take it-
wrong with that. That's
Let's
totally
just,
good.
yeah. So let's just take it to somebody. Maybe they're not waiting for marriage. Maybe they're just they're looking to to
wanna
get laid.
lose it.
Exactly, they want to lose it. So I would say that there's probably some key character improvements that need to happen for that person to be for that man to be attractive to a woman. So by trying to put a Band-Aid over that problem by saying, hey, let's just go get you a sex worker and like we'll just let you be with a woman and that will hopefully fix this issue that you have. I think that's it's not a get rich quick scheme, but it's a Band-Aid for a problem that's much larger. Maybe he needs to improve himself. Maybe he needs to be more of a man. Maybe there are some character development things that need to happen.
I have a comment on that.
That will be hindered
And that's
by.
the mother. That's also the mother's responsibility.
So I think, so as a man, I think that needs to come from the father, not so much the mother,
Well,
because
the
the
mother-
father has been through those character development
I think
issues.
both.
Unless the father isn't there.
Well, so
Yeah.
he has been the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
ideally, the father's
Yeah.
there.
Ideally,
I mean, I
yeah.
think that's a huge problem. But
Yeah.
the father should be the one speaking into their sons' lives, saying,
Mm-hmm.
"Okay, you're having this issue that you might want to try to solve this issue very quickly by going to a bar or seeing a sex worker.
Mm-hmm.
But there are things that you need to improve in your life to where you will be desirable to a woman."
Correct, because I do think that, example, if let's say he's like, I'm 18, I'm gonna go see a sex worker because I have this chip on my shoulder. Goes and sees him, and he's like, let's say he gets the whole 9 yards there, and I paid a pretty penny for whatever he did, and then all of a sudden he comes back home. Oh, I'm still unhappy, and no one will ever love me. I'd be like, you know what? You just got a gift from that woman, and she gave everything to you, presumably. And you're still not happy, you're the one that needs to work on yourself. I said, you just got a gift. You are ungrateful for what you get
and
in
I agree
life.
when you say the father should be
Yeah,
a
yeah.
part
Yeah.
of that in building that.
I got a
that
follow-up
character.
question here.
Yeah.
Would you want your daughter's daughter, if you had
Yes.
a daughter, if you have a daughter, to be a prostitute?
What a silly
Okay.
question.
I got
no,
Why
this
is that
is
a
answer. I have an
this
answer.
Why is that
is
a silly
such
question?
a stereotypical
Why is-
question. No,
why
we
is
gotta
that-
take a
I know.
time out here.
It's
This
always a
question
gotcha.
is a tired question that people love
not.
to ask sex workers
It's
as a
perfectly
stereotypical
reasonable
gotcha question.
It's not a gotcha
I
question.
have an answer.
Why
I
are
have an
you
answer.
asking that
Why did
question?
you not object? You didn't object to me asking the son question.
Because most people don't ask about, would you want your son to see a sex worker? No, legitimately, the majority of people don't ask, would you want your son to see a sex worker and have an elevated conversation about it. The conversation around, would you want your daughter to be a sex worker? That's a question that gets tossed around constantly. That's like asking a sex worker to do her makeup in the mirror. Everybody knows what that looks like.
Motorsports donated $100. No, that is not how men talk to their sons. Men teach sons to be men and respect women and to not consort with 304s. We
Good
teach
point,
them
Greg. Good point.
Is that how much we're getting paid?
men are needed in the
$304?
home.
I know so many men in marriages and are dating materialistic women that are paying out the nose for their relationships. I know so many men in marriages and dating relationships where they are paying out the nose.
Yo, Jay
for
Butler,
it.
I think you can't send it with like a bad word or whatever. Genital herpes is not protected by condoms, and all sex workers will contract it on a long enough timeline in the industry. This is why they can't test for it in blank. You all have it. You're filthy.
I don't have that. I have
Wow.
Kaiser. Well, actually, I just
Very
switched,
belligerent.
but I
Kaiser.
don't
We
have
have
it.
a lot of
Kaiser
belligerent
insurance.
sponsors.
Kaiser
But
Police
doesn't
drinking
give
like
you money.
Yeah, in California, but I switched recently.
Okay, so the question was, and you see, I mean,
I have an
everything that you said does nothing to refute the question that I asked.
I'm curious why you're asking it, because everybody wants to know,
curious
oh,
why I'm
your
asking
daughter,
it.
it's
I'm
your
the host
daughter.
of a podcast asking various questions.
But what does this have to do with our children? We are consenting adults choosing to do something with our own careers. Why not ask us about our careers and what we are doing because of sex
You
work?
just
For
know- if
example,
you
the things
refuse-
that
I
we
think
can afford to
it's a
do.
fair question to
I
ask
can
because
answer it.
I can answer
like
too.
like
could
your
answer
children are
it.
part of your
I didn't
life
want
and
to.
your
I'll answer.
your
I have a
career.
daughter.
Like, nobody wants to
one
talk
person at
about
a
their
time.
kids.
at 18.
Yeah, well,
like-
this is it's a dating talk podcast.
I know,
dating
I thought we
That
were
comes up.
generally
supposed to talk about
so
children, but
generally
I
I
guess
just
dating
feel like kids
okay,
are one of those things that
so
we don't
generally
really need to
dating
keep
leads to
talking
marriage
about.
and then usually marriage leads to kids.
Not
So,
always.
Come on,
Do
let's
you feel
be
like it's a gotcha question because it's most likely a no from a lot of people?
I don't think it has anything to
depends
do
on-
with
again and
the
like
answer.
and I want to go back to like when you said if a girl came to me and talked to me about wanting to be an
This is why I
escort.
got the massage there.
You know,
for
same with
today's
my
show.
daughter. I want to know why. I want to understand why. And then, yeah, I would educate her on the right way to do it.
Would you advise your daughter, like, say she came to you and she wanted to get into this line of work, would you guide her away from it? Or would you, as you said, try to encourage her to
I
do
would
it?
want to understand, you know, why, what is the motivation?
Money. Let's just say she wants money.
Then I'll
Okay.
give you
No,
money. It's like it's the thing is you have to understand how people are raised. So if a child like I was not raised in the best household, but
Okay.
I'm choosing to break those chains, those curses, whatever, with my daughter. So my daughter's never going to think, "Oh, I want to do sex work," because she's not being raised in an environment that's breeding that.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Well, so the question is, would
So-
you
And I
want your
wasn't
daughters to
the
be
answer
prostitutes?
is
that
no.
bred
And I'm
it,
asking
and I
you.
wanted to be it.
I'm starting with you, and we'll go around this way. Go ahead.
Again, I have goats. I have goat kids
If
here.
you-
I am not a parent,
Okay,
so I do want to
you-
lead with that
then-
here. This is
that's
all
fi-
very theoretical here,
Yeah.
so I
Do you-
can't
do you
speak
want
from
kids
the
in the
same level
future?
as.
No.
You're allowed to have
Do
an
you
I
want
opinion.
kids?
don't. I only want goats and horses. Thank
Okay,
you so
then
very
that could
much.
be your answer.
So
You don't
I don't
wanna
want
have
kids, and if I wanted
don't
to
wanna
have a
have
daughter
kids.
and she wanted to be a sex worker, sure, she can be a sex
Modest Hikima
worker.
donated $100.
that's fine.
Thank you,
This
Alice, for being
episode,
honest.
sex work is a blessing of God, sex work a stepping stone to God. My kids wouldn't come up in dating what degen crap you peddling, Brian. Masseuse is Tiffany.
No,
Bet
that's
would
not
be
Tiffany.
fired if I came on.
Okay. Hey, you know, we're trying something new. You know, we're doing an all sex worker panel.
Clickbait,
you know,
baby.
We're trying to do a little something
We
different.
are always a clickbait use.
Yeah. Anywho,
Anyway, there's
Just ask
nothing wrong
yourself.
with doing sex work. What makes this career such a problem for people? It's like, ooh, what happens if your daughter wants to be, I don't know,
Me
in the
personally,
military? I think I'd have more problems with my child wanting to be in the military than I would with them wanting to be a sex worker. I'd be more concerned about their safety if they wanted to ride horses professionally for a living. I'd be more concerned for their safety if they wanted to be an EMT in a risky area. Like, there are far more challenging careers than being a sex worker out there. I don't know why it's such a big deal. Like, okay, sure, great, be a sex worker. Cool.
Cool.
I mean, I think you're looking for a yes or no, and it's so much more complex than just like yes or no. Like there's so much more behind it.
You don't need to give a yes or no, but I'm hoping you can give brief answers.
My answer
to my
is
like just give the
short, no.
like just give the
Is in
short
short,
version,
no.
and then if you want to explain,
In
you can
short,
explain.
it's no.
Okay.
In
Coming
short,
from
it's
somebody
no.
who's spent the whole entire time.
Yeah. I would definitely say no because of the experience I have myself and the wonderful, like, it's been more than 15,000 people we've helped out of sex work that no, too dangerous.
For me, if she came to me so I get my tantra practitioner's certification this upcoming year, and if she said, Mom, I want to be like you, and I like how you're into tantra, and I like how you do that at the broth. I like how you heal, are really into healing and having this experience with people. I'd say, okay, well, you can go to these retreats, I'll pay for you to go to these retreats. And if you really enjoy that, there are brothels available for you to work at. But if she just says, oh my gosh, Mom, I want to make a lot of money like you, and I don't really want to do that. That's not my style. And I'm just trying to, get money. And I'd be like, didn't you learn anything from your mother? Like literally, like, didn't you learn anything from my life? Because obviously she would know it.